Hey, what's going on, everyone? Justin here, and I've been going through my shelves a little bit, trying to get them a little bit organized for a potential library tour, hopefully in the near future. But as I've been doing that, realized there's a lot of books I've talked about, saying I'm going to read them numerous times on a couple of occasions and just haven't yet. So we're going to be doing a series of videos of books on each of the different kind of categories of books that I have and picking out a few that I need to read during this year. So we're going to start at the beginning with my nature books over here. And I got 7 nature titles that I would like to read in 2025. So let's just get started. So first up, we have Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey. This is, I want to say it's a cult classic, but I think it's kind of beyond cult classic at this point. Edward Abbey was an eccentric park ranger, I think mostly in the Southwest, and I think a lot for a couple of years in some of the national parks in Utah. But he's a bit eccentric, very blunt with his, I guess, descriptions and his opinions on corporations and stuff, trying to like abuse and misuse wild places and that sort of thing. But very, like I said, very eccentric. Probably, would have been super in favor of like eco-anarchy stuff and everything. I think he had written some like I know he had written like a series of like novels kind of like dealing with those kind of issues and stuff. So anyways, I just to read like a couple little sentences off the back here. Yeah, so this is a rare view of a quest to experience nature in its purest form, the silence, the struggle, the overwhelming beauty. But this is also the gripping anguish cry of a man of character who challenges the growing exploitation of the wilderness by oil and mining interests as well as by the tourist industry. Abbey's observations and challenges remain as relevant now as the day he wrote them. Today's Desert Solitaire asks if any of our incalculable natural treasures can be saved before bulldozers strike in. And this was written, I think, in 1968 originally. And I've read tons of passages that other people have like quoted in their nature books or science books and that kind of thing. And I'm like, it's about time I actually read it. So I think it's going to be kind of like a 60s kind of aggressive version of like Aldo Leopold, basically, is kind of what I'm like hoping for there. But anyways, that's what we're going to try to do. Next up, we have Sounds Wild and Broken by David George Haskell. Sonic Marvels, Evolution's Creativity, and the Crisis of Sensory Extinction. So this is all about, it's kind of giving me very much An Immense World by Ed Yong and Sing Like Fish here, How Sound Rules Life Underwater by Emerina Kingdon. It's all about almost like the umwelt of different animals, which is how their experiences and how they perceive the world through their sensory organs, which can be quite different from ours. Even just like taking sight, that's probably like our most dominant one. Some animals can see in the infrared. A lot of animals actually can see in ultraviolet. A lot of animals have more cones in their eyes, so they can just see zillions of colors that we can't even like really comprehend what that even like means. Stuff like that. So I think this kind of focusing on some of the, I guess some of these senses that I want to say almost that they're kind of like, since they're going extinct and everything, a lot of things that we're just not going to be able to learn. There's a lot of stuff we could like. I always feel weird saying, we should save, if people, like when I'm arguing with people, just if we want to be super crass, we should save like all these plants and animals and stuff just for like all the like medicinal research and other kinds of scientific discoveries and stuff we can make and everything. But I really enjoy David George Haskell. I read his The Forest Unseen. I thought that was tremendous. That's where he takes a little plot of land, I think it was like a square meter or so, and just watches that same exact meter over like the course of the entire year and everything. But like I said, like this is going to be his kind of take on like kind of the sensory diversity in the animal kingdom. So I think that's going to be really cool. Next up is either going to be, we got either The Lives of Bees or The Lives of Butterflies. So leave a comment down below which one I should do. I have 8 of these Natural Lives series books now. I'm finishing up The Lives of Spiders right now. But I want one for when that one gets done. I'll plan on collecting all of them. And there's 3 more coming out this year. So I think that'll I want to say that brings the total to 14. So I need to get going because I'm only like halfway through the 8 that I have. So I need to get cracking there. But I just love them. They're just so relaxing. Just awesome to like read and everything. If you like animals, you like any of the categories or taxa that they talk about. I learned tons of information, lots of different species profiles, biology, ecology, anatomy, all kinds of stuff. Just awesome. I'll yap about those books pretty much all the time, but I need to get going with them, otherwise I'm going to fall behind. Next up is an author that I'm trying to read all of his works as well. He's in my top. He's got to be there's probably two. He's probably tied for first. Top two, anyways. And it's Carl Safina's Alfie and Me. And it's, what is it? What's the subtitle? What Owls Know, What Humans Understand? Something along those lines, but I'll put the cover right there. But I'm going to hold up another one. If you like turtles, read his turtle book. If you like birds, read his albatross book. If you just like the oceans, read his Song for the Blue Ocean. Everything he writes is amazing. So I just, like I said, I just want to finish out, read pretty much his entire bibliography. I'm about like halfway there as well. But this one came out, I think, at the beginning of 2024. And it's all about during the whole COVID pandemic and stuff. I think there was like an injured owl that he took in, but due to like circumstances and things, it didn't recover very quickly, and it became almost just like a household part of the household. Alfie became part of the household, and it's going to be obviously a lot about owls and that kind of thing. You're going to learn a lot of the science and biology, just based on his like other books. You're just going to learn tons about owls. But it's also about, I think, kind of our connections with the animal world and everything, and like what we could do better, what we have done well, and that kind of like symbiotic relationship and that kind of thing. As he was kind of homebound during the pandemic, during lockdowns and stuff, he just didn't have I assume he has like a zillion travel engagements and stuff. He's like an international like policy person on like fisheries and everything, and they just like weren't happening. So he spent some time like reflecting on, like I said, just different relationships between man and animal and everything. And it sounds really good. So I need to go pick up a copy of that one. Next up is Now Comes Good Sailing. Writers reflect on Henry David Thoreau. So I've been starting to actually kind of enjoy essay collections, as weird as that sounds. I read a couple, I think 2 maybe last year, of nature essays and that kind of thing. So I was like, when I saw this one, I was like, I'm going to keep going with that one. I love Henry David Thoreau. I love the whole transcendental movement, Thoreau, Emerson, and that stuff in the mid 1800s. And this is just like literally like 27 different writers like doing essays on their reflections on Thoreau and Walden and that sort of thing. So obviously with giant essay collections like this, some are very hit or miss and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I feel like this is just going to be kind of a good pick-me-up. Like, there's got to be, like, some good hidden gems with 27 different essays in here on all kinds of things, just on nature writers and nature journalists and academics and stuff thinking about and reflecting on Henry David Thoreau. So I know there's got to be something good in here, so I want to read it. If I don't like tell myself to read it, like I'm afraid like I might just like be like, this is like essays. Maybe I don't want to read it at that point in time. We'll see. So next up is Shark Drunk, which I've had for like 1,000 years as well, and just haven't gotten to it. And it's The Art of Catching a Large Shark from a Tiny Rubber Dinghy in a Big Ocean by Morton Stroxness. And this is not really... it kind of is about catching a shark, trying to attempt to catch a Greenland shark, I think. But I think that's more like the backdrop. From what I understand, the story is this journalist and his like artist friend just kind of going out on the water in the North Sea to catch a Greenland shark. But it's really about like kind of just like musings and philosophical discussions and ramblings on like the natural world and life and this, that, and the other thing. It just sounds really good, basically. The Greenland shark is the bait, but the point is not to catch the fish. Shark Drunk is a phantasmagoric journey, both ultra-vivid and laconic, through the history and natural history of a remarkable region, its teeming seas and tough, resourceful locals. Stroxness weaves his tale from a dense wool of close observation, fishing yards, erudition lightly worn, and a hopeless, consuming love of the ocean. And then gorgeously written and thoroughly addictive, with the open-minded inquisitiveness of Charles Darwin and the obsession of Captain Ahab, Stroxness heads out onto the sea, tracing a monster of the deep known as the Greenland shark. Every page feels like a cabinet of curiosities filled with head-scratching surprises, nuggets of wisdom, and wondrous insights. So like I said, I didn't know anything about the book. I just happened to read like the back of it there, and I was like, wow, this is definitely something for me. And that was like 3, 4 years ago? I don't know. And I haven't read it. So we just gotta like get going on that. And then lastly is another author, and it's a person I really enjoy. I've watched like a lot of her YouTube or things like where she's spoken on, and been uploaded to YouTube and everything. Is Jane Goodall. Seeds of Hope with Gail Hudson, Wisdom and Wonder from the World of Plants. I have 3 of her books. I have this one, Hope for Animals in the World, and Through a Window, which I think is more of like a memoir of her time with the chimpanzees of Gombe. So Jane Goodall's just a person I really enjoy. Like just both her like science stuff, her kind of like I said, her observations and everything, and the kind of the whole situation there. Leading up to that wasn't like the most like what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't the most like natural like route per se, but also her philanthropic stuff with her Roots and Shoots programs and everything like that. Just fantastic stuff. But I haven't read any of her like primary works. The only thing I've read kind of was like the Book of Hope, which was the author like interviewing her and that kind of thing. But like I said, I haven't read any of her own works, and I gotta rectify that, so we're gonna be reading one. I'm hoping this one in the near future there. So anyways, that's like 7-ish books of nature titles that I really need to get to. Probably could have picked out a couple more, sadly, but I feel like the nature ones, I'm actually doing pretty good. I have a pretty good ratio going on. When you get into like this stuff, sometimes like there's a lot more to be read than I have read that's still on the shelves. So anyways, let me know what you think of any of these, which ones I should prioritize. If you've read anything by any of these authors or these works, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know if there's any nature books you've been waiting to pick up and read. Like I said, I always love talking about nature and science books are the best. So anyways, whatever you end up reading, whether it's science or not, read victoriously.